I stopped breathing the moment my husband said, "That baby isn't mine." We were standing in his mother's living room, surrounded by pink balloons and paper plates with half-eaten cake. My hands were resting on my stomach, feeling my daughter move for the first time that evening. And Daniel looked at me like I was a stranger. Not angry, not confused, just certain. His mother gasped softly. His sister covered her mouth. Someone turned off the music like silence could hide what he'd just done. I remember staring at the clock on the wall. It ticked louder than my heart. Tick, tick, tick. I didn't cry. I just said, very quietly, "What did you say, Daniel?" He crossed his arms. "I said that baby isn't mine, and we're getting a DNA test." Before that day, my life was simple. Daniel and I had been married 8 years. We lived in a small house with chipped white paint on the porch railing. Every morning I packed his lunch, turkey sandwich, apple slices, a little note folded into the napkin. He used to kiss my forehead before work and say, "Love you, Mama." Even before I was pregnant. We tried 5 years for a baby. Doctor visits, vitamins, silent prayers whispered into pillows at night. When I finally got pregnant, Daniel cried harder than I did. He painted the nursery yellow. He read baby books out loud. He pressed his ear to my belly, like he could hear our child laughing already. So when he accused me, it felt like my bones turned to dust. The first strange thing happened a month before the baby shower. Daniel started coming home late. Not wildly late. Just late enough to notice. He smelled different too. A sharp cologne I didn't recognize. One night I asked, "Who's wearing that at work?" He shrugged. "New guy." But he didn't look at me. Later, I saw a message flash on his phone while he showered. "Did you tell her yet?" His reply, "Soon." I told myself it was work. I told myself good wives trust. I didn't know then that he was already doubting me. After his accusation, I agreed to the DNA test immediately. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just said, "Okay." Because I knew the truth. And sometimes dignity is louder than anger. For 2 weeks, Daniel barely spoke to me. He slept on the couch. He told his mother I'd betrayed him. He stopped touching my stomach when the baby kicked. That hurt more than anything. Not his words, his silence. The day the results came, we sat in the clinic waiting room together. The air smelled like disinfectant and old magazines. The nurse handed Daniel the envelope. His hands shook when he opened it. I watched his face change slowly. Shock, confusion, fear. He read it again. Then he whispered, "It's mine." I nodded. "Of course it is." But the nurse cleared her throat gently. "There's another note," she said, "because of a discrepancy in medical records." Daniel frowned. "What discrepancy?" She looked at him with soft eyes. "Sir, your fertility test from last year showed 0 viable sperm. That's why the doctor ordered additional screening. You're infertile." The room went quiet. Daniel stared at the paper like it might disappear. I felt something inside me settle. Because I finally understood. Months earlier, Daniel had secretly tested his fertility. When the doctor told him the truth, he panicked. Instead of facing his fear, he blamed me. He convinced himself, I must have cheated. That was easier than admitting he was scared. And in his fear, he humiliated me. We later learned something rare had happened. A medication Daniel stopped months before had affected his test. By the time I got pregnant, his fertility had partially returned. The baby was his. But his accusation, that stayed. You can't unsay words like that. You can't unbreak trust. Daniel cried when he apologized. Real tears. I was scared, he kept saying. I thought I couldn't be a father. I listened quietly, because I understood fear. But I also understood respect. We went to counseling. We talked. We fought. We healed slowly. Not perfectly, but honestly. When our daughter was born, Daniel held her like she was made of glass and forgiveness. And I told him something I still believe. Love isn't about never making mistakes, it's about telling the truth before fear turns you cruel. Today, my daughter is 3. She laughs like wind chimes. She calls Daniel Daddy, with complete trust. And sometimes, late at night, Daniel still holds her a little tighter, like he's afraid to lose what he almost destroyed. As for me, I learned something important. If someone doubts your truth, don't scream. Stand still. Let the truth speak for you. It always does. Would you have forgiven him the way I did? Tell me in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe if stories like mine help you feel less alone.